So I just want to sit down and talk to you guys about some things on my channel, and hopefully we'll see how this video goes. But today I want to sit down and talk about some things, and basically just give you a just share a story with you guys, share my story with you guys, because I don't usually share much of anything. On this channel I usually just do like a lot of gameplays, and with my No Man's Sky I've been trying to do something more, I don't want to say cinematic, but more so just show the pure experience, pure organic experience of me in No Man's Sky. That's why it hasn't been a lot of talking, and that's why the last video was almost 2 hours long. I realized that is entirely too long for a video, and I don't even want to sit down and watch the whole video myself, even today. So I don't think that was a good idea to ask for anybody to watch that video, the entire video from start to finish, because that's a long video to watch. And so I feel like I don't want to say I should take the channel in a different direction, but I'm going to take it in a different direction because I just want to. And I want to say more transparent, because I mean, I haven't done anything other than be transparent with what's on the channel, and it's literally mostly just me. Nothing is really staged, or like, oh, we're going to do this multiple times to get the perfect clip or anything like that. Everything is really just, it's pretty much organic as it is in game, especially my Armor 3 content with John. It's really just all organic footage, and it's just once we get on, I just hit the record button and I just take the action clips from it. And I feel like that's pretty much like the way I want my channel to be. I just want it to be like all real gameplay. I don't want to have to do things multiple times to get the perfect shot. So with that being said, I don't want to ramble too much. I'd rather get into this story of my history in gaming. So for me, my history in gaming has stemmed my entire life. I don't recall a moment in my life when I didn't have gaming as a part of my life. I've always had some sort of console, handheld, or at this point in my life, PC to play games on. No matter what stage or what part of my life I was in, I've always had some sort of game system to play. Gaming has been like the single most constant thing in my life, regardless of whether it's my living situation, which isn't the greatest as of right now, but who gives a shit, right? So I mean, I think the first game system I remember playing or having was an Atari 5200, the one with the number pad on it. It was crazy. And as far as I can remember, I remember having Pole Position, and I played Pole Position to death. I mean, I can remember playing Pole Position over and over and over and over and over, and blowing up and dying. It was pretty ridiculous, and it was the Atari was fun. I remember that, and I loved it, every second of it. But as a child, when things grow, and then I remember having the Sega Genesis. I had the 16-bit one with the headphone jack. It was the shit. I remember my dad kicking my ass in Tecmo Bowl and pissing me off all the time. It was really ridiculous, and I think that was like sort of like the end of my dad playing video games with me. When I ended up with a PS1. Well, not a PS1, but a PlayStation, the original PlayStation, and it was great. Like, there were amazing games on the PlayStation. I remember that was like really like the first console that was mine. I could play the games. I asked my parents for the games. When PlayStation came out, I was pretty young, still in like elementary school, and I remember playing games like Jet Moto, Crash Bandicoot, Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider was amazing. Crash Bandicoot is my all-time favorite game on PlayStation. Jet Moto was amazing. I also remember playing games like Tekken and being introduced to a lot of different games on PlayStation. And I had the original PlayStation, not the one with the DualShock controllers. I had the original one. And I remember when the one with the DualShock controller came out, and I was just like super crazy about it. But I never got that version. I always had the original version. And the shitty part about that was I never had the one with the memory card. I never had a memory card on my PlayStation 1, and it was always crazy because like I was trying to play games or whatnot, and I would have to pause them just to go to sleep to wake up and continue playing games. It was kind of it was really ridiculous when you think about it, but I'm sure a lot of you guys used to do that too, just play games and pause them. I never had a memory card. I didn't even know what a memory card was back then. I remember playing Final Fantasy VII. That was crazy. That was like my first RPG experience, and like it really pissed me off that I didn't have a memory card, but I would just pause it and I would just play it and play it and play it. It was crazy. And then after that was the PlayStation 2 age, which in my opinion, I feel like was the best era of gaming for me, because with the PlayStation, I had the original PlayStation 2 that came in the blue box, and when I got it, I remember I had got the Grand Theft Auto Vice City, which started my Scarface craze, and it was crazy because I had never played a game like that. I never played an open world game like that, and it was really intense because I don't remember doing much else other than playing Grand Theft Auto Vice City. If they had like a game timer like Steam does now, I probably put well over 1,000 hours into that game, just playing and doing random things and shooting and killing people and completing the story and cheat codes. When I found out about cheat codes, it was like that was hot shit for me. Like I didn't even know like what I was. It was crazy. Like I knew like back then I knew like supersonic code or whatnot, and I didn't know until recently that you did not need a code for supersonic. But more on that later. But I found out there were codes for Grand Theft Auto Vice City. It was crazy. I lost my shit. I didn't know what else to do. I was just playing that game over and over. I played it all the time. And with my PlayStation 2, I had a memory card, and I could do anything. It was 8 megabytes. And now to think about it, it's like when you sit back and you look at it, like 8 megabytes was fucking huge back then, man. It was crazy. But now it's like, that ain't even, you can't even download a song that's 8 megabytes. That's ridiculous. But like the PlayStation 2 games were crazy. Like I remember playing, like I said, Grand Theft Auto Vice City. I remember I had Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec, which I spent a tremendous amount of time playing, which I can thank one of my sister's boyfriends at the time for getting me into Gran Turismo, because I had Gran Turismo 2 and I had Gran Turismo 1, but I really didn't understand the concept of the game. I didn't know. I think it was my age. I didn't understand it, and like there was no internet back then. I mean, even if it was like slow dial up, and I didn't have like the knowledge to go and like look up things and stuff like that. There were no Wikipedias back then, if I remember correctly. And then it was like I had to go, and I didn't when I in PlayStation 1, I didn't understand a lot of things. I remember I just played games. I just played, and it was fun. But in the PlayStation 2, I started to remember more. I started to understand more. Like when I got into Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec, I know you had to get the license. And I think like my most memorable moment is doing like the 24-hour race and staying up an entire weekend just to play that. I remember I got out of school and I was like, I'm going to sit down and play this game. I'm going to do the 24-hour race. And I remember playing, like starting at like 7 o'clock at night, and then just playing until I barely keep my eyes open, and I would like pause the game, and I would sleep for a few hours, and I would wake up, and I would start back up again. And I felt, after I completed that, even though like now when you look at it, like unlocking like a special car, it really wasn't that big of a deal in game. Like you really didn't get like that big of a prize, but it was like so satisfying to do something like that. It was so satisfying to complete a 24-hour race as like a young kid, and like being like that everybody had that game in school. I was like, yeah, I completed a 24-hour race, and I felt like I was the shit. I felt like I accomplished a lot. And a lot of times I don't get that satisfaction from gaming a lot nowadays. Like, so when I complete a lot of games, I feel like I don't want to say I want more, but it just feels incomplete. Like I don't have that satisfaction. I don't have that same degree of satisfaction when I complete a game now. But then after that, I remember when, like, I think it was Fast and Furious had came out, and then Need for Speed Underground was out at the same time, and like that just like changed my whole perspective on like car games. It was very arcadey, but it was still fun. And I remember playing it, and then Need for Speed Underground 2 came out, and it was just the car customization like blew my mind. Like it was like crazy. I had to play it. And I remember Need for Speed Underground was the game that I broke my controller on. I broke a PlayStation 2 controller because I got so upset from playing on hard difficulty and losing so many times while I like threw my controller to the wall and like smashed to pieces, and I ended up having to explain to my parents how my controller broke. And they ended up buying me like this little cheap Walmart clear controller with like the lights in it, and it was just horrible. It was like the worst controller ever. And I remember having to like do like odd jobs to like get money to afford a new like genuine Sony controller, because to me those were the best controllers. So I had to do stuff to get that controller. And then I remember like after that game, after Underground 2 came out, and I destroyed that and I beat it and I played it over and over and over. I remember when Need for Speed Most Wanted came out with the BMW M3 GTR. Ridiculous, man. That game, like it was just something about that game that just made me just really understand. I won't say understand, but it just like had like a huge effect on me to where I'm like, I guess like to where I'm into cars now. And it's crazy how like cars nowadays, like games nowadays, like, you know, everything is exactly like the real world. Like you can customize cars like with Forza and all that kind of stuff. But back then, like you kind of had to be more creative and you couldn't do engine swaps and all that kind of stuff. But it's just like it's really ridiculous like how far games have come and how it's influenced me and a lot of people and how we actually do things now. And then I remember like after that, I remember getting a PS3, a PlayStation 3. I remember like I have a funny story about the PlayStation 3. I remember when I got my PlayStation 3, I remember my parents were like, "We're going to Best Buy. We're going to get a new TV." So they were getting a new TV for the living room, and they wanted a flat screen. And I was like, "Cool." So I'm going with them, and as a child, teenager, you know what you do. You go to the game section, and so we're walking around. I'm going off to the games. I'm playing like the demos, whatnot. And then I come across, this was back when like they would like stack up like game consoles like in the middle of an aisle, and I saw like the Spider-Man 3 bundle, and I was like, I need this, because I always wanted a PlayStation 3, but I never knew how to like come about asking for one. So I was like, I need this. So I literally just grabbed the PlayStation 3, and I put it in the box. I put it in the cart, and like I was like, we're getting this. And my mom was like, no, we're not. Like, we're not leaving until we get this. So, like, she just walked around. We picked the TV out. And we got to the restaurant. She was like, put that back. I'm like, no, we're getting this. And I remember getting Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. And that game set the standard for me as to what a FPS should be like. But I didn't really understand it, that I had already played FPSs like first person shooters like this before. It really didn't hit me until like later on that like I had played an FPS before. I had played first person shooters, because back before all of this PlayStation 3 thing, I had played Quake and Unreal Tournament, and those were great games, and those were fast paced shooters. And I never really had like a gaming PC. Like, it was always people in my family who, like, they were into computers and whatnot, and I would go, and they had, like, these games and whatnot, and we would just play games. I remember playing Ace Combat. I remember playing Unreal Tournament, Quake. I remember playing Need for Speed, the original Need for Speed, when you're just running from the cops and, like, super exotic cars, like Lamborghinis, Porsches. You couldn't dream of playing games like that back then. Like, you couldn't dream of like driving cars like that. Like, I couldn't even, like, those were like cars that I only had posters and model cars of. I never dreamed that I could drive a Lamborghini. So like I was into that. Like, that was like it for me. I needed that. And I remember like way back when, like, my dad had this old like IBM PC, and he had like this game called Battle Chess, and like I think that was like my first experience with like PC gaming. I know it's kind of weird like having like a chess game as your first experience, but that was my first experience, and like I was so into that for some reason. Like I was like, I've always been like sucked into games for some reason. That was kind of like how it was for me. Like, I've always been like just hooked on it for some reason. And between that, I remember getting a Game Boy Color, the atomic purple one. It was kind of like, and I remember having like Pokemon Blue, and I remember having Pokemon Crystal, if I remember right. That was on Game Boy Color. I remember having Pokemon Crystal, and then I remember getting like a Yoshi game, like the Yoshi one, like the Yoshi puzzle game. And like those Pokemon games, like those really like I remember when everybody in school had like the trading cards, and you were like the shit if like you had like the holographic cards. Like you, if everybody had like the you know you would, people wanted to trade you for like holographic cards, and you know if you had like all the Charizards and all the fly cards and shit, everybody like you were the shit. Like if you had all those cards, you were the shit. And like it's crazy like now that you still can get a holographic Charizard on eBay for a fucking ridiculous price. Like I wish I would have kept my Pokemon cards, but I didn't. But we didn't know any better back then. And like even then, like even now, you know, I still play Pokemon. I have a 3DS, and I have Pokemon Alpha Sapphire, and it's just kind of crazy that like you know, like how gaming has had like a lasting effect on my life now. You know, like even to this day, I still go back and we play Quake Arena, and you know, it's just something that's always been a part of my life. And you know, I don't want to feel like I don't want to sound like cliche and like, oh, that's all I've had in my life is gaming, but you know, gaming has always been there. So it's just one of those things. I mean, who knows? I mean, share your story with me. If you've been playing games as long as I have, if you feel as passionate about games as I have, as I do, then please share your stories in a comment. If you like the video, please like the video. If you want more, subscribe. Thank you.